Okay guys, just wanted to do a magazine modification video, but I'll go ahead and introduce its host. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've seen this guy before. This is a 5.45 by 39 AR15, and I know some of you out there are saying this is blasphemy, but it is what it is. I'm a bigger fan of the AR platform, but I love Russian rounds, 7.62 by 39 and 5.45 by 39. They've always been cheaper than your 5.56, and for the most part, readily available, even through the catastrophe of the ammo shortage that we've seen here in the last in 2013. I was always able to find these spam cans of this military surplus ammo, and these are 1,080 rounds of military surplus. Now this stuff is dirtier, it is corrosive, so you have to take a little more care. Even in your AK rifles, you have to take more care. But with this guy, this is a melanite coated barrel, so you get a little extra protection there. But like I was saying, this stuff always cheaper. Even through the worst of it, I was able to find these spam cans going for $180 to $200 per 1,000 rounds. So that puts you right at 18 to 20 cents per round, as opposed to 5.56, which is anywhere from 30 to 50 cents and up, depending on when you bought or during the crisis. I mean, it's still back on Walmart shelves at 49 cents a round. So to me, that's still bullshit. I'm ready for it to get back to where it was. It was right around the last time I did any real big ammo purchase. I think I was paying right around 35 cents a round. So it's still considerably higher than I'm willing to pay. So with this guy, you basically get the same recoil impulse. You get to have all the features that you would with a 5.56 rifle. Let's say you did a 22 long rifle AR, did one of the Smith & Wesson. You're going to lose some of the features. You won't have that last round bolt hold open. You won't be able to do a mag change and either use your bad lever or just drop the bolt, because the 22 long rifle doesn't have those features. So when you're kind of doing one of those, I'm going to build a rifle to train with that is as close to a 5.56 as I can possibly get, so I can have a cheap alternative. 5.45 by 39 is really the only way to go. Like I said, basically have the same recoil impulse. I can set this thing up just like all my other rifles. Same light. Obviously the sights could be a little different. You got your front and rear folding. You got your bad lever. Some people hate those. Some people love them. But all in all, still very similar to a lot of my other builds. So, and as you can see, same setup. All the key features are in the same spot. Whether it's a flashlight, obviously got some different optics there, trigger, ambi, this, that, and the other. So you have some great continuity with the AR, which I guess you could really reach that with an AK-74, but like I said, to me, I just prefer the AR platform. I believe it's much more user friendly and NFA friendly, to where you can have a lower that's SBR'd. You can have multiple different caliber barrels for that one SBR'd lower, and also too, with the American manufacturing of the barrels, you don't have to worry about some of the stuff that you do with the Russian, you know, the not being concentric to the bore, or some funky thread pattern that maybe your suppressor doesn't have. A lot of suppressor companies that have really come a long way with different QD mounts and that type of thing, so that's not as much of an issue as it used to be. But like I said, I really love this setup. You know, and it's built very well, and you know, like with this 100-pound arms sounds fantastic with this 5.45 by 39, and also this is a user serviceable can, so I can take this part, inspect it, clean it while using this dirty corrosive military surplus ammo. Also, the barrel melanite coated, get a little more barrel life out of that. This is also a Adams arm long stroke piston, so I can take that part and clean that piston rod out. You don't have to worry about those corrosive materials getting in and you know, getting into your gas tube and coming back and getting into you know, your chamber back here. So with this piston, it's less dirty than the direct impingement. So really love this setup. But one of the big things with this gun, this system, is the magazines. These magazines have the one that it came with. This is a C Products magazine, and this one in particular has ran flawlessly. Some of these other C Products have not. They do have 5.45 followers. They're all crimped differently than your standard GI magazines to accommodate the 5.45 by 39. But every once in a while, some of these others, and I have a dozen or so, and it's never usually one magazine or the other. Usually, if I take it out and I'll mark it or whatever and run it back through, and you know, 2 or 3 times it goes fine, and then you know, some other one does it, to where you'll get some binding somewhere in the magazine, and you know, these top few rounds are just, you know, super loose and sloppy. Pull it out, give it a whack, and you know, that spring, and you know, basically breaks them up, and they get right back in it. But obviously, if you're in a life and death situation, you don't want to have to worry about that type of scenario. So these magazines, they're not 100%. So I'm hoping, after watching Mrgunsandgear, he did a magazine conversion with your standard PMag, and basically you have your PMag follower that was at this length, and in his video he cuts it off basically relatively flush with this this spring retainer deal here. So I left it a little bit longer to give me some room to play with. You know, if I have to come back and make it shorter, you know, if it's not working, I'll come back and do that. Also too, I loaded it up, and notice I had a little bit catching right here at these feed lips. So I just kind of took just a tad bit of material off there. But even with this modification, you can't load to capacity. So I will be down a few rounds. You know, to where these are your standard 30-round magazines. You know, I believe he was saying right at 25 or maybe under. And even if it's 20, I'd rather have a 20-round mag that worked 100% of the time than a 30-round mag that was just kind of, you know, worked 98% of the time. So definitely a trade-off there, but that's up for you to decide whether that's something that you want to take a gamble with. Go with 30 rounds that could work or could not work. So we're just going to go ahead and pop 20 in just to see what happens. So let's put off, there's 5. We got 10 rounds off to the side. Yeah, those first couple definitely saw some kind of squirreliness going on there. So the only way to really see is to get out there on the range and see what happens. So let's just take it out there to the range and do some shooting. Okay guys, here we are with 5.45 by 39 AR15. We've got a modified Magpul PMag. This has the follower cut down a little bit to allow for the taper of the 5.45. So this is loaded with 20. We're going to start with 20 and see where we go from there. Twenty seemed to work pretty good. Okay, this time we got the magazine loaded up to 25 rounds. Like when I did the video last night and loaded it up to 25, right at 23 or 24, that last round or two starts feeling a little squirrely. So we're just going to see how this feeds those first 5 rounds and then carry on from there. See, issue right off the bat. So this would be 23. our 30 round magazine filled with 20 rounds of 5.45. Okay guys, just got back from the range. Went out there with this modified PMag to see what kind of reliability I could get out of it. As you saw earlier in the video, I did some modifications to get this one to hopefully feed the 5.45 by 39 reliably. And it did to a certain extent. It found out that right at about 23 rounds is pretty much as high as you want to go with this one in particular. Actually took these out while I was doing another video, and go figure, went out to do a video saying how unreliable these are, and I did a 4 mag dump. Didn't have a single issue with any of these mags. So like I said, it's just one of those things. It's one day they work fantastic, next day maybe you get a hiccup in one of them. So it's just hit or miss, but like I said, they work great today. This one, I would have liked to have it at least 25 rounds, but you're looking at probably 23 is the way I'd want to go. I'd actually just found some stuff. My buddy, I'll roll in a clip of the magazine inhibitors. Magpul makes for their Gen 3s. So I'm actually going to find a Gen 3 40 rounder, put a 10 round inhibitor in it, and see if I can get a 40 rounder to hold 30 rounds, and see if there's either like a spring tension or the curvature or whatever. It seems like you don't want to do a mag at full potential. So maybe if I drop to a 40 rounder and do 30 rounds in it, and I can get some success out of it. But I'm going to keep playing around with it. I'm a big fan of Magpul products, and even if I had to drop down to 20 rounds, and also too, I'm going to try to get my hands on a 20 rounder and see if I can't get something going there. These work decent most of the time, but there's always that opportunity for them to fail, and generally, if something can go wrong at the worst possible time, that's when it's going to. So I'm going to keep playing around with these PMags, see if I can't come up with something better than a 20 round mag, but might just be one of those things. But either way, 20 round out of a 30 round mag works great. Maybe if I even loaded these down a little bit, maybe I'd have a better reliability out of them. So stay tuned. There'll be some more on this topic if you're interested in some AR variants. Like I said, the AR15 5.45 by 39, I mean, it's just a great way to get as much trigger time for your money as you can possibly get. Shooting these at 18 cents a round, I mean, you just can't beat that. So stay tuned. You'll see some more.